The Chinese nation has spread throughout the world, including Indonesia and Malaysia. However, even though they are both of Chinese blood, there are striking differences between the Chinese ethnic communities in Indonesia and Malaysia. Here are some striking differences between the Chinese communities in Malaysia and Indonesia. Culture and traditions. 1. Local cultural influences. The Chinese community in Malaysia has a stronger Malay cultural influence, while the Chinese community in Indonesia has a stronger Javanese cultural influence. 2. Traditional celebrations. The Chinese community in Malaysia celebrates Chinese New Year with a bigger and more festive celebration, while the Chinese community in Indonesia celebrates Chinese New Year more simply. Language and dialect. 1. Mandarin. The Chinese community in Malaysia uses Mandarin as their primary language, while the Chinese community in Indonesia uses Indonesian as their primary language. 2. Hokkien dialect. The Chinese community in Malaysia uses the Hokkien dialect as their second language, while the Chinese community in Indonesia uses a different Hokkien dialect from that used in Malaysia. Economy and education. 1. Economic influence. The Chinese community in Malaysia has a greater economic influence, while the Chinese community in Indonesia has a smaller economic influence. 2. Education. The Chinese community in Malaysia has better access to education, while the Chinese community in Indonesia has more limited access to education. History and politics. 1. Immigration history. The Chinese community in Malaysia has a longer history of immigration, while the Chinese community in Indonesia has a shorter history of immigration. 2. Political influence. The Chinese community in Malaysia has a greater political influence, while the Chinese community in Indonesia has a smaller political influence. It should be noted that the differences above are only based on a few aspects and do not cover all aspects that affect the Chinese communities in Malaysia and Indonesia.